What's going on, everybody? It's here. We are here at Bostic Enterprises. It is Albert Bostic, Brock TV, and me, myself, DC Soap Sanctuary. And tonight we are going to be discussing the Ice Princess 2.0, everybody. Welcome to the chat.
You got to sit there and deal with the OG Brock TV. So, the guy who pretty much inspired us to do our channels. Just gonna throw that out there
Some
against it.
Corinthos, some soap reviews.
Everybody having a good night tonight? I hope y'all are having a good night, not a drunken one, because I seen that bottle Albert got over there.
Oh, we about to cook tonight. So
He got the red solo. That's a dangerous thing. Somebody with a red cup, that is.
I've been waiting for this for a hot minute, so we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna start off with Brock TV. What are your thoughts about this new Ice Princess thing?
I like it to an extent. I like it because it's boosting Trina and Spencer as a mainstay couple. You know what I mean? It's adding some layers to them as a couple. It's bringing them closer. You seeing the adventure side to them. You know what I mean? Because it's stuff like this that can help make somebody a super couple. Because I see all the time on social media, everybody going crazy over Jocelyn and Dex, and I'm just like, there's nothing there that screams potential super couple. I mean, having sex on a dirty couch and talking about Sunny 24/7 doesn't scream super couple to me. Now the stuff Spencer and Trina's doing, I'm like, that to me, that's super couple material. You know what I mean? Because you're dealing with this crazy nut of a relative, trying to kill majority of the population. Then on top of that, another obstacle they're gonna have to face is her mother. You're dealing with this, now you gotta deal with the mother who wants Spencer the hell away from her child. So I think it's going to add a lot more angst to them, because you got to deal with one problem, which is Victor. And once this is all said and done, now they're going to have to deal with a whole nother problem, Portia. So I'm enjoying the hell out of this storyline. Plus, we got Laura back in the thick of the Cassadine, business again. And this is her chance, I think, for her to finally shut the Cassadines down, at least temporarily, because the Cassadines are never fully going to be shut down, of course. So I'm enjoying it. I just wish Drew was, X'd out a little bit, but I digress. I've been enjoying it because I'm a sucker for a good adventure. I love a good adventure storyline.
DC.
I think the storyline has been absolutely amazing. I think the writers, when they first wrote the character of Trina, I don't think they ever anticipated her being this big. I think they anticipated her having the Langston Wild effect, which is like to be like the little sidekick to Jocelyn, kind of like how Langston was with Star Manning on All Right to Live, but they realized in some ways that Trina has superseded being just Jocelyn's friend. Now she has her own storyline, her own family, her own stuff. We're interested in her as a character. And I think the coolest part about it is that I agree. Having this whole adventure storyline is what solidifies them as a couple, right? And honestly, I do find them a little more interesting than Joss and Dex, to be honest, because there's a lot more different obstacles that they have. And of course, Trina is just more likable as a character, too. So that makes you naturally a little more invested in Trina than for me, probably would be Joss. But I think it was a perfect touch for them to do the storyline this way. Um, and also the fact that I felt like I was watching General Hospital 80s that week when they're on the Honda Star running. I felt like I went into a time capsule and not the bootleg way they tried to do it over the years. I felt like this was like the real thing, the way they did it. I was like, wow, like it felt like it was giving Love in the Afternoon. It was giving adventure. It was giving San Cristobal and all these different adventure storylines on the soaps back in the day. So I was loving it. So what about you, Albert?
Yeah, no, I'm loving it so far. I'm finding it probably among the best part, like as far as storyline wise, and it's making Spencer tolerable, which I think at this point everyone in the chat knows how I feel about Spencer, but it's making him tolerable, and I'm just enjoying the story in general. And what sound?
Yeah, what is that? It's a little static.
You said something was staticky?
Yeah, I hear that static, dude. Yeah, I hear that. You hear that, Albert? I hear that like little.
Yeah, no, I definitely heard. it's gone now, whatever it is. But anyway, I'm enjoying it so far. It's like adventure and stuff like the hell. Do you hear that? We got a ghost going on or something. Anyway, I'm loving the adventure part. It's great, and I don't know how that is, and it's on
What,
my
you're
end.
afraid to talk now? Like you're afraid to talk now?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what the hell is going on. But anyway, like I said, it's giving good adventure, and I'm just enjoying it in general.
Can I ask a question? What did you guys think of? I don't know if we're gonna get to some point, but the 60th.
Uh, I think it could have been better. Of course, I think it was all right. I think for 60th, I think they could have went all out. I think they should have tried to get Luke in there somehow. Get a Luke cameo in there.
That's what I thought. I thought he was finally gonna come back. We're gonna see him finally in the 60th. That's what I was
Yeah,
waiting
I was
for.
hoping to get a little Laura visiting Lulu and we see a hand move or something to give us a little hope that after 3 years she was about to come on back. Um, I think it was all right, but I think of course it could have been better. Maybe Sonny get a phone call from Brenda, she in trouble or something. Something of that nature. Something that harkens back to some type of history to the show, like Laura and Leslie getting together, or Leslie coming to town because she figured that Victor burned her house down. Something like that. To get the vets more in the mix of what's going on here.
Yeah, I mean they don't. When it comes to this show, they don't really do the vets really that good. It's more of Days of Our Lives that actually will showcase the vets a lot better. But let me ask you a question. I mean, now this is so weird, and now it's coming from my side. So I have no idea what the hell that's about. Does anyone else actually hear that in the chat? By the way, you have that look on your face, DC.
No, I'm just, I'm
No,
almost smiling.
so the 60th, when that happened, that was during the nurses' ball, right? Like that all kind of coincide together.
I believe
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a Nurses Ball fan, so I don't really care about the acts and stuff like that. But the story, I thought it was pretty good. Like the Haunted Star and stuff like that. I thought that stuff was good. The performances I could have kind of did without personally.
I feel like even looking at the 60th, it was very, to me, it was very piss poor. Less piss poor than YNR's, but it was very piss poor. I just, no flashbacks, lack of flashbacks. And this is something that grinds my gears about soaps is the lack of flashback. Y'all got 60 years of material on here, and other soaps having 50, 40 plus years. And we're not using the flashbacks. I mean, my mind, use those tapes before before they record over it, please.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no flashbacks being used. My guess is that this whole Ice Princess with Trina Spencer is the 60th connection they're doing. Like that's part of their flashback story that they're bringing into the 60th, which was okay. But I was expecting more. Lucy Cole sacrificing her life just to go plan a nurse's ball seemed
Uh,
ridiculous. I don't even think Passions would have done that. But, uh, it wasn't like the 50th. The 50th was on point. We had flashbacks. We felt this connection. It felt all over the place. And I feel like, to me, it was the ultimate sign that JH is in trouble because I thought we were going to see Luke. I was waiting to see Luke pop up, or that was a big twist or something. I was expecting something like that to happen. And the fact that I didn't get that was very lackluster. Even the week of their 60th, because I think they were on April 2nd or 3rd. And the week ended on the 1st. So I thought something was going to happen even that week, just pop it off. And it was very lackluster. It was just interviews on the red carpet. I don't know. It didn't do it for me personally. It was better than
yeah.
YNR's though. Their
I mean,
50th. I'll give you that. It was better than their anniversary. I'll give you that.
well, to be honest, all three of them so far that I've seen have very lackluster um anniversaries, like B&B, all three of them. But that Jesus Christ, that Monday episode when they started, I honestly think that was probably the worst episode I've seen at GH like ever. Because I could there was nothing I can even fall back on. I don't even like the performances but they didn't even actually have that going on. So it just yeah.
The performance is a little cringeworthy. They're a little cringy. They're a little cringeworthy for me.
I
You
also
know,
felt like they wrote themselves into a corner to some extent because they brought up this whole Luke is dead, this, that, and the third. And as fans were like, well, he's not dead, but I don't think they can actually get the actor back. So it's like, what are they gonna do at this point? Like even
they kind of
towards
realized
the
how
end,
crap we messed up.
yeah,
Like we don't want to do the Luke storyline no more. But damn, like we already did it for this long.
I mean, if you
yeah,
want to wrap
We
it
got to
up, I
see it
mean,
through.
at least to wrap it up, call Tony Geary and beg like hell to get a cameo. I mean, he did it a few years ago to usher Tracy off. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't mind doing some type of cameo again. You know, coming in on
Or a
some
phone
type of
call,
role.
even a Zoom.
Yeah, you know, something. Get up at least his voice on the phone or something.
they like what they did with Monica.
Yeah, at least you know something of that nature.
They didn't have none
Because
of that. I mean, they could have gotten him. I agree. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
no, you good. I was gonna say, you know, the disrespect that they be showing Monica is just it's it's just wild. Like you got all this activity going on in her home, and she ain't nowhere to be found. SEC running around, interlopers staying there, and she ain't nowhere to be found to tell some of these folks to get out her house. Because I know I would have.
Now, what do you think about the whole Nina calling them up and everything like that? And like what do you think of that?
Honestly, I I like it, but then again, it's like I know for a fact, as much as I am gonna enjoy it, it's gonna be very short lived for her because I know it's gonna blow up in her face. Um, but I don't have a problem with her calling because at the end of the day, I'm ready for her and Carly to just stop all the nonsense talking and threatening and just start fighting. They too much has been said and done for them not to be throwing hands at this point. Like Carly and Brenda used to slap each other around just for small stuff. So the mere fact that they keep saying, you know, derogatory things to each other, ain't nobody slapped somebody by now, ain't nobody pulled no hair yet. It's
No
kind
one's
of
gone out the
nuts to
window
me.
either. You know.
Yeah, it's like it's weird. It's like why don't y'all hit each other? Um, you know, throw something at each other, have a food fight, something. Um, but Nina, she just comes off delusional sometimes. I be trying to root for her, but then that delusional stuff start to come in, like, oh, Carly did this, and I'm like, where did she do that? Because I ain't see that. But okay. Oh, Carly's the reason I'm not at the wedding. Okay, if you want to tell yourself that.
Yeah,
But I have no issues with her making that phone call. None whatsoever.
DC.
All right, so this is
You
the
know,
thing.
you know,
I
it's
was
taught I
waiting
said.
for you. Yeah, I already know. I already know. I already know, dude. With you, yeah, you wait for me for that same energy. You know, I would say this. I was disappointed in Nina this week because, and I also feel like the writers must not like Cynthia Watros. But I was just like, man, Nina, come on, really? Like, how is this gonna help your case? Like, because in the day, even if Willow goes, Michael is still the sole parent left of your grandchildren, and you already know they already did a custody case and you lost. So it's just like, where do you think this is gonna go? And I agree with Brock. At some point, it would be, I guess, great for her and Carly to just duke it out. Maybe Carly throws her out of a window, and that's how Nina can get her sympathy, and then we can move on. Something. Or she goes off a staircase. The way Stephanie threw Jack Maroney off the staircase back in '06, and then they had to give away all Force the Creations to Nick.
Yeah,
So she didn't have to go to jail.
like how Taya and Blair were fighting, and Blair ass went out through the window. And I think that was over the
Exactly.
fact that Taya and Todd had a child together.
Yep.
Yep.
And then
So
I think it was in '94, '96. Blair first threw Taya out the window because she
yeah,
just had it with her.
yep.
She threw her out the window first. So I couldn't. But the thing with Nina is like I, everyone knows I'm a strong Nina fan, but this week I was like, oh my god, Nina, like what good do you think it's gonna go with? And Ava had a good point. Like Carly and Sonny between them, it's like they have 20 kids together. So like his loyalty is always gonna be to Carly, her loyalty is always gonna be to Sonny in some way or another. And you're always gonna get iced out in this situation. And you have no leg, you have no standing. And but I get where Nina was coming from because it feels like disrespect. Like I can't go to my own daughter's wedding. Like you took the first daughter from me and now the second one. And But I just feel like, well, how do you think this is gonna help? Like putting Carly in trouble, and it could maybe over time bring Michael and Willow into it too. So I don't know if she really thought this through. So I
She
was like,
did.
come on. And
But,
I'm like, the writers don't like Cynthia Watcho. She must have did something, you know?
but
She
see,
wasn't just a
here's the
one
thing
writer
though.
one day.
But here's the thing though. It's not even like she didn't think this through. She had time. She had weeks, almost like months. Like she knew about this for a while. So you can't even sit there and say this was a rash reaction. She's been
Yeah.
watching and plotting for a hot minute. This is what I like to call Ninarisms. Okay, I named that term Ninarisms for a reason. Jesus Christ.
That
Yeah.
radio static. You know what that reminds me of? That radio static that keeps coming on at the time when Anna was gaslighting Deputy Mayor Ashby.
Oh yeah, that was actually one of my favorites too.
you know. But honestly, the thing is, Nina, I wanted to root for her, but I was like, man, I can't. I'm like at this point, like, where do you think this is gonna go? And maybe Carly needs to throw her off a staircase, maybe the Quartermain staircase or something. And she's in the hospital, and then we can move on. These usually how these things go in the show. The rivalry goes on, someone goes out of a window, a plane, a car crash, off the staircase.
Exactly. Something gonna have to happen between them. Something dramatic. Something very dramatic is gonna happen. I just feel like the Nina Carly feud, it has to hit a climax at some point with somebody getting hurt. Because I think that's where this needs to lead to next.
The problem with that is that if this was like the 90s, late 90s, I can see something like that. Like when Nina found out about Carly knowing for a hot minute, there was no big reaction. There was no yelling, there was no screaming, there was no nothing. And maybe I just feel like because of now, for some odd reason, it's like they don't want to have that same energy, that same passion, that same yelling and everything like that. They don't have that now, you know. She barely had a reaction. Her tone was so monotone. It was just like, that's it. Like that's really your extent of you being mad. Like I get it was a church, but damn, you don't have to curse or anything like that. But yell, do something. Like, but
Yeah,
also she thought that she, in her words, she thought that Sonny would understand. See, this is my biggest issue with Nina is that she has this way of just twisting reality around to suit her needs and revise history like there's no tomorrow, aka Ninarisms. I said it.
yeah, she's nuts. She really thinks Sonny gonna be okay with it or he'll understand. No, no. Because at the end of the day, I feel like now you in some mess when Ava Jerome of all people is telling you how something is gonna go and this is toxic and they're gonna be together or they're gonna have each other's back, and she's basically telling you it's a bad idea. That's how you know it's a bad idea. If Ava of all people is telling you this, um, it's just that's how they do. You know what I mean? No matter how many times they fight, they're gonna have each other back. They always do. At odds or
And
not.
some. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, bro. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I guess in some ways I understand why. This is the only part I understand because, like I said, I already feel like Nina's just. It's hard for me to support her this week. I feel like it was hard for me to feel that way. But the only thing I do understand is that Willow's her only child that's left that we know of. And there's not gonna be more popping up. Now, see, when Sonny was beefing Michael, it was all right with him because he got 20 other kids to focus on. We got 20 other kids. And was I speaking to you? It's like, all right, what's the next one? You can kind of just count your losses.
Exactly.
You gotta count your losses, but when you only got one, you like, I gotta make this work. No, you cannot speak to me. Now, Nina had 20 other kids like Sonny did. She be moving on too. She's like, all right, well, that's her choice. What I gotta do about it. But all she has right now is Willow, and here's the thing: Carly is like, oh no, this is Willow's choice. You didn't respect it, and I think if it was anybody else but Nina, Carly would probably say to Willow, maybe you should consider it. I think Carly would tell Willow to consider it if it was anybody else but Nina. But the fact that Willow doesn't want it, and that it's Nina, so that works out for her favor. She doesn't like Nina. She's like, okay, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and keep this going. I'm going to keep this works for me. I'm right with that. You know, like when someone doesn't like someone, like they have a justified reason for not liking someone, but then the fact that they don't like them just adds on to it. It just makes it more justified for them. So this is kind of why I'm seeing with Carly. I think had it been anybody else, she would have given the perspective. Because I'm sorry, if Sam McCall can redeem herself for what she did to Jake, I think Nina still has a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
She still has a chance. She still has a chance.
I'll give you that much. Yeah. Which, by the way, why the hell was actually Sam officiating that wedding?
Yeah,
So
that
somebody
felt
want
weird to me too. That felt
that
weird.
that
I
made
feel
zero
like
sense to me.
I think they just threw her in to have her do something, I guess,
Yeah, I know. I know.
Give
because
her
they
some
ain't had nothing
lines.
else for Sam to do. Because they know they could have got any fool from down the street to officiate that ceremony.
Well, they didn't want to sit there and pay nobody else. They already had her, so why pay somebody else extra?
I mean, well, shit. Dante was at the wedding. He could have came up with an excuse for why Sam wasn't there, and he could have officiated it. Hell, it
That would
don't
have
take
made
nothing but 30
sense.
seconds to get licensed. I'm licensed.
What about Laura? Laura's been one officiating the past few weddings of GH. Where's she at? She was
No,
there, wasn't she?
she chasing after Victor,
Oh, that's right. That's right. She's still caught up in the adventure storyline. Okay, that's right. That's right. That's right.
and everybody there ain't got no coats or no hats
Right.
on, and I know it's cold out there. Give
Or
me 1 second,
gloves.
right back.
Or no gloves.
I'm on a video call. How can I help?
Right. I feel like Laura definitely could have been able to. She could have been the one to officiate the wedding, but she was not there. She was unavailable. But it was feel weird, and it was weird because Sam was just like, "Oh, I watch you guys grow up." Sam raised Michael like along with the rest of Port Charles at one point in time.
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to think of who in Port Charles has not raised Michael. Honestly,
Oh, Jesus.
I'm sure if Nina was around that time, she would have been raising him too at some point.
You know what? You're probably right about that too.
I
Pretty
think
sure
she would have.
they were raising that boy.
Yeah, I think she would have. What did you guys think of Andre Maddox coming back?
I enjoyed
The
it.
Dr. Andre Maddox.
I was happy about it. I actually feel like if they're gonna bring him back, I'm glad they gave him a purpose to bring him back. But at the same time, they need to stop playing and let him come on back and be a love interest for Jordan. Because I'm
I was thinking
tired
the
of.
same thing too.
I'm sick of them wasting a gorgeous ass woman on nothing. It's like everybody else got romance in their life except her. Well, and Alexis, but that Alexis ain't nothing but a man killer anyway. Alexis just can't keep a man to save her life. But I just wish that they would give Jordan and Andre a real actual chance at a relationship.
But do you guys notice something on soaps? Whenever someone becomes a police chief, they stop writing for them. Do you notice that? Will
Yeah,
Buchanan, Paul Williams, Margot Hughes, Rafe, like
yeah,
it was like it stopped writing for them over time. You
they put you
notice?
in a corner. They put you in a corner, and on most episodes, you just be relegated to being a day player, basically,
Right, right,
which
right.
is sad, honestly.
And that's something I noticed. I noticed that every time someone becomes a police chief on the soap, they stop writing for them. And I hope they would bring him back for love interest Jordan because she's kind of falling into the background in a sense. I'm like, I
Yeah,
think that they could give Jordan so much more of a storyline. Here's the thing too, like I just feel like I don't feel like Curtis was the intended love interest for Jordan. I feel like it was supposed to be it's supposed to be Sean, and that's why they made Sean TJ's father. But then the guy left, the guy who played Sean left, and we'll come back and say, okay, we got Curtis, so we'll bring Curtis on it. But I don't think that was the original intention. Sometimes you watch those, you can tell who was supposed to be original
yeah,
intended end game. Kind of like on As the World Turns, I've been watching classic As the World Turns episode, and I can tell that Dusty was supposed to be the original intended endgame love interest for Lily. But when Brian Boone left the show, it was like, okay, now Usher and Holden, Holden Snyder, that's the backup. I just noticed that when someone do that. I'm starting
I
to
don't know,
notice
but
that when they do
I
that.
think honestly, Holden and Lily, I think they just fit better.
Okay, okay, I can see that a little bit.
I felt
Okay,
like they
I can
fit
see
good,
that.
so I felt like that substitution was a good call. Um,
Okay, I can see that.
yeah, I felt like that was a better call. I feel like
Okay.
it was a perfect match. I think her mother
Like
died.
same no, yeah, the actual mother, Elizabeth
Yeah,
Hubbard, who played
yeah.
Lucinda. Yeah, man, yeah, I remember that. Albert has no idea what we're talking about right now.
Lucinda was nuts.
God, listen, that was a good story. That was a good story. That was Lucinda. Oh my gosh! But I'm hoping that they give Jordan a storyline. So bring Andre back because Anna's too busy with Valentine. She's way too busy with Valentine right now. So let's see how they work that out. Because I did like the character of Andre Max. I feel like he never should have left. He should have stayed on.
You got potential
And they gotta, yeah, he does. He definitely does.
if
You
written.
know, they
What
seem
was
like
that?
they're gonna.
Oh, my fault. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna sit there and say it seems like they're just gonna relegate her to Curtis. They're just gonna relegate her to Curtis. You know, at one point they were about to sit there and kiss and stuff like that, and I'm just like, this is what they got going on. This it would make sense for them. I
You
don't
know,
think anyone heard a damn thing what I said.
what was that?
No, never mind.
The
This
audio thing
background
that you got
noise,
going
yeah,
on?
yeah.
The Holly Sutton thing you got going on there?
But
I
it's
wouldn't
weird because
even.
it's never actually happened before now.
I wonder why. At first, I thought it was my Bluetooth headphones, but I don't think it could be that. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Nah, I don't even want to put that out there. Now you guys start looking at me.
That's the thing. I can't even hear it. Honestly, it just sounds normal to me.
So wait, maybe it's
Yeah.
Brock then, perhaps.
I don't know. Might be, but I just don't hear anything. Be static.
But I wouldn't mind even seeing Jordan with Sonny. I feel like I could see that.
I would never want her with him. I wouldn't even put that on her because I feel like that would just be a waste for her because she would have to deal with too much baggage, too much Carly. I wouldn't even want to put
And
her.
jeopardize her whole career too.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to put her in their orbit. Sonny done compromised too many people's legal careers.
Yeah, that's
Every
true. That's
female
true.
lawyer he done been with, he done compromised them in some form or fashion.
It's true.
What's
Hell,
up
he
with Diane?
clear well sprung. I remember. I think yeah, he had Claire Walsh sprung too at one point. She was compromising herself for him.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that with Claire Walsh. I remember that back in the day.
And then
I
what you
remember
call
that.
it? And then Brenda came in, and then he pretty much kicked her aside.
Yeah, because that nutbag was
That's
trying
what
to
I
have a
was thinking
baby by him.
about. I feel like Brenda was the original intended love interest for Sonny, not Carly. But then they just swapped and went with Carly instead. It's like, all right, well, she ain't coming back, so let's make Carly the end game.
Yeah, because Brenda was supposed to stay in 2011. That was an abrupt exit for her. She was actually supposed to stay. But
You
I
know what
think she
happened?
was pregnant at that time in real life. I think. It was something. It was some behind the scenes stuff that happened, but she was definitely supposed to stay on.
Well, what can you do? I guess the show has to go on, right?
Oh yeah, definitely does.
Now, what do y'all think about this whole stuff with Dex and taking down Sonny with Michael and stuff like that? Like, they're getting a lot closer. They're doing a pikeman deal and everything like that. So, what do y'all think about that? I'm gonna sit there and start off with DC.
I want to see more depth with Dex, more depth with Dex. Because we've kind of been through the storyline. I'm getting like deja vu. I feel like this is like Dante Falconeri infiltrating Sonny's organization again, except we just don't know if Dex has an ulterior, like another relation to Sonny. Maybe he's the son of Brenda. Maybe he's the long lost son of AJ Quartermain. Maybe he's the long lost son of Courtney Corinthos, which I think that's a theory, which makes sense of this whole weirdness between him and Spencer. They're not liking each other. Um, or perhaps maybe he's the long lost brother of Sasha, because we still don't know who Sasha's family is. And I feel like that is going to have to come into play for Sonny to save Dax. One of those scenarios, I feel like in my mind, is going to have to come, is going to take place. And that's going to be the thing that saves him, because this is giving Dante Falconeri vibes all over again. Goodbye, detective. With all the bad opera music. It's taking me back to that moment in 2010. That's the type of vibes I'm getting with that. What about you, Brock?
Honestly, I want to know more about him because he's like a big ass question mark at this point.
Yeah.
Um, like you literally know nothing about him or his true motivations. Um, I feel like he's barking up the wrong tree with planting cameras and whatnot. I feel like that's a fool's move. Um, I just feel like his little stupid plan with Michael is gonna blow up in both their faces. Um, because I felt like since day one of this happening, somebody gonna get hurt. Like you make a move like this against somebody like Sonny, somebody gonna get hurt in the long run. Like either Michael gonna find himself in the receiving end of something, or Dex will, or maybe Jocelyn by extension. But somebody gonna get
I was
hurt
gonna say Jocelyn too. Yeah.
because you playing a dangerous game at this point. Like I gotta say, you know how Victor Newman tells people whenever they cross him, you know, you playing the big boys game, you playing the dangerous game. They are, you know, they not. This is the big leagues. They not ready for something like this. If you're gonna come after Sonny in this manner, you better know what you're doing. Because even if you put him down in prison or whatever, he can still get you if he want. He can. Any mob boss can reach out from behind a prison wall and reach you and grab you by the throat if they wanted to. So Dex better come correct. I hope that he's not no long lost relative of Sonny. I hope not, because that's the last thing Sonny needs is another child, nephew, cousin, brother. That's the last thing he needs. Um, is another Corinthos attachment. Like him being, I always felt like he could have been Jason's long lost child, because I wouldn't mind Jason having an illegitimate. He definitely, you know, was out there back in the day. Um, honestly, I'm curious though to find out who this kid is related to, or if anybody for that matter. But he's definitely barking up the wrong tree.
This
Yeah,
that's
I
why I think he
just
could be related to Courtney Corinthos or uh, Sasha. I feel
Mm.
like that. I feel like it's in between those two because Sonny has enough kids. He has 20 kids, so he has
Yeah,
enough to last him throughout the duration of the show. Go ahead, Albert. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna sit there and say like I don't understand Dex's end game. So it's like he takes down Sonny, and then what? Him and Josh just left heavily after, heavily after or whatever. Like like Sonny's not gonna sit there and put two and two together. And be like, oh wait, I was doing fine until Dex actually got into my organization. Maybe I should kill him now. Like, how did he think that this is actually going to end? That's the part that I'm just like, once you go to jail, it's not like it's like Brock said, it's the same thing with Cyrus. When Cyrus decided to take out Sonny, the dude was in jail. Okay. So what's stopping Sonny from just beep, at Dex at this point?
Yeah,
It's
because he's got people
I
on the
don't get
outside.
that part.
He's got people who could take care of him on the outside while he's in jail. Yeah,
Yeah.
he did.
And what Josh is just going like I don't get the end game. At least with Dante, have somewhere in the middle of the story we got to understand what was Dante doing, what was his purpose or whatever, like more about Dante. With Dex it's just like, oh, I got contracted by Michael and he's a really bad guy, so I want to sit there and take him down. I'm like, wait, that's it? That's literally it. Like I feel like there's more, but we're so far into it, it's like, when are we going to get to know more about Dex? And you know we got a lot of questions, we're not getting anything.
true.
I think they're allowing it to play out with Dex. They're taking their time with telling the story, and that's why, like I said, I'm looking for those subtle things in the writing. So every time I see him and Spencer bumping heads, I'm like, all right, so is this both of Courtney Corinthos' sons bumping heads? Is what's going on here? Is the writers build it up, or the fact that him and Sasha haven't had a scene yet? What's up with that? So I'm looking at those small little nuances that those subtleties in the writing, because it seems like now the writers in GH are taking their time with their writing. You notice they've never done this before. Now they're allowing these storylines to go on for about a year or so before we get the answer. Where GH was always boom, 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 bam within 6 months or less, and now they're just taking their time. I don't know if that's intentional sloppiness, a little bit of both. Trying to figure that out on their end. But I agree, we don't have nothing about Dex. Never, not even mention of a parent, nothing. So did you just fall from the sky and you were just born, what I'm saying,
Yeah,
in New York City hospital? Like what happened?
exactly.
That was my biggest thing.
Yeah. Now, quick question before you kind of switch gears a little bit. So, am I the only person that has just been kind of annoyed with Spencer up until the point where he's been with Trina? He's been a little bit more tolerable. I would sit there and say,
I
we'll
haven't.
start with, yeah, yeah. DC.
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, I think with Spencer, he's finally gotten this rich kid aura on him, think he's better than everybody else. And that's why I said, like, I know Esme was like a total villain, but when she said to Spencer, I'm not proving myself to you. I don't even know you. Because really she doesn't know her in her mind, whatever. But I was like, you better tell him. You better tell him you're not proving yourself to him. Because listen, this is the thing about life. And I always say this all the time. When you've done something wrong, people want you to be remorseful, but sometimes people will take an extra mile where at some point in time they don't want an apology for you, they want submission. And some people are like, oh no, I'm not gonna give you that. And that's what Esmond's like, no, I'm not giving you submission. I'm not proving myself to you. I don't even know you. Like, so what's up? And I was happy, bro. I was like, you better. Don't let these people keep trying to bully you. You better. You better tell them. You better tell them not keep proving yourself to. Because how frustrating is that? You don't even know who you were. And everyone's wanting you to prove you're a better person. I was like, I don't even know you people. Like, I don't know you. So like, how does that work? But I was happy, and she put that kind of snobbiness of Spencer in his place, because I feel like too, like even though Esme has done some things, she's still gonna have to put her foot down with these canines, or they will run all over her. So I was proud of her in that moment. I was.
Rock?
Yeah, honestly, I always felt that about Spencer. Like he has that douchebag side to him that I can't stand sometimes. That little smug, I'm better than you, I'm wealthy. That's that attitude sometimes I just can't stand about him because he knows when to pull it out. And then you got the other side to him where he's a good friend, he knows how to talk to people, he's compassionate. You see a whole different side to him, especially when he's around Trina. But that douchebag side, I'm surprised ain't nobody knocking on his ass so far about that. Because Dex of all people, I'm like, for one, the way he talked to him, I'm like, now I understand why he don't knock him down because of Sonny or whatever. I get it. He felt like, if I put my hands on the boss's son, that'd be the boss's nephew, that'd be, a rap for me. I'm like, listen, if Sonny ain't around, knock him on his ass. All you gotta do is hit that boy one good time, and all you gotta do is just tell Sonny, like, listen, he slipped and fell. Say he fell. Like, you ain't gonna sit here as a grown man who's actually lived. You're not gonna sit here and let this boy, who's a trust fund kid, talk down to you like you less than. Like
Or
that's
maybe,
huh?
or maybe when he finds out he's Courtney Corinthos' son, he'll fold Spencer like a chair in the Metro Court.
I really hope this kid is not in no relation to a Corinthos. I really hope not.
He
I
finds
feel
out he's
like that
Courtney's
would
son,
be
he'll
the.
fold him like a chair.
I feel like that would just be the cheap way to go. Making him Sonny's kid, I think that'd be a cheap out. I just feel like that's a cheap, lazy writing to do that because they always do something like that. And I'm like, no. At this point, I would rather Dex kind of be independent of any legacy, any veteran up here. I just hope that he's not a part of that. Just let him be a standalone character.
What if you Sasha's brother? Could you go for that?
Well, yeah, because she's not really a legacy. She's not a legacy character. I
Okay.
can go for that.
Okay.
If he got some
Okay.
type of connection to her. I don't know if that would make too much sense story wise because they don't interact, but still possible. I mean, anything is possible.
They kind of look alike. They kind of like I kind of feel like they could look alike. They could be siblings.
That's true. They got the same similar, I think, hair color
Yeah. Yeah.
in a way.
Now, just switching gears for a minute, I'm gonna start off with you, DC, as far as Days of Our Lives. What do you think of the storyline so far?
Days is always delivering. Days is the one soap that keeps me on my toes. It is delivering. I mean, even with Talia, I'm like, okay, she into Chanel, she not into Chanel, where's it going? And then she got a boyfriend with a British accent, just popped up at the end of the week. You know what I'm saying? Half of these souls, brother. The name is Colin. Colin is my name. And it's just like, you know, I feel like Days. I'm actually invested in this Bone Hope storyline. I'm actually interested. They did a couple of flashbacks, and I'm like, thank goodness, using your flashbacks. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, let me just get on this real quick second with the flashback to the soaps. I just always feel like because soaps have 40, 50, whatever plus years of storylines, you can just take something from that. You don't have to pull something out the wazoo. You already got all this stuff over here, all this meat, all this feet for you to feast on. You know what I'm saying? You can pull from that and make something strong. But I think Days has been super on point lately.
Rock?
I've been seeing a few of their storylines, like the whole Sweet Bits situation, which I think is it was nuts. Everybody hallucinating, hooking up with people they ain't had no business. Um, the boat stuff I felt was kind of crazy. Like I love a good adventure storyline, but what irritated me was they done brought Bo back, had him reunite with Hope, and now you're in a coma. I'm like, how long is this man supposed to be sitting in a coma? Because everybody they done put out a whole press promo, made a big fuss about him coming back and Hope coming back, just to put him in a coma. I'm like, I hope it's not gonna be long. And I don't know what they doing with Kate because the last shot I seen of Kate, her just sitting there in overalls, coveralls or whatever, chopping up something. I'm like, what the hell going on with her? She done bumped her head and turned into a hillbilly. I'm like, what the hell going on with her? Like, I'm like, is she mind? Like, what's good with her? Because I'm just looking. I'm like, she looked a little off, and I'm like, something wrong with her mental now. Like, she looked like she in some type of little isolated area or whatever. I'm like, what's going on where? It kind of reminded me of that movie, what's the name of it? I think Overboard with Goldie Hawn, Kurt Russell. I think she had bumped her head or whatever. She was supposed to be married to this rich guy, bumped her head,
Old school. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Wow.
and she turned
Damn.
into like this little hillbilly or whatever, and thought she was married to him or something. I was wondering if they were going that route with Kate because she looked a bit off to me, like the way she was acting. But I'm enjoying the show though. Like Days definitely I feel is clicking on all cylinders for the most part. It's definitely keeping me intrigued. Um, Especially the Talia, Sloan, and all that, Paulina. I'm enjoying it. I really am. I'm definitely enjoying it. I want to see more Maggie though in the CEO chair because I'm enjoying her running Titan. It's something different for her. I
Can I
want to
add to
see.
that real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I just want to add something real quick before I forget. Is that when I saw Kate chopping up the fish, it was giving me Paris, Texas, and Nixon Falls storyline. So I remember One Life to Live when all of a sudden we just saw Vicky come out with an apron and she
Yeah,
was serving waffles. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? And now you know how so he was working the bar at Nixon Falls because Nixon Falls was legit Paris, Texas for One Life to Live. That was legit that like, but just a couple of things switched up. And so I felt like, is that what we're gonna get with Kate? And then like a whole new cast of characters, Butcher and Fish with her or something. Go ahead. It's an ad edit. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, it's one of well. Here's also, I felt like people saw different previews, like towards next week or whatever. It seems like her memory's fine. It seems like she's being more like held hostage there for some odd reason. So I don't know what that's about. But just going into Days has always been on point. Days is one of those shows where it's like, as much as I love GH, I've been watching GH for like since the year 2000. I love the structure of Days better. I love the fact that they're able to sit there and use their vets. I love the fact that they don't take billions of years to sit there and finish a story. With that being said, this whole we have all these people, we have all those three people die, whatever, and then they just came back to life. There's something about it that's like, granted, I knew that they were going to sit there and keep them dead because, they've been on the show forever. But just the simple fact was like, oh, well, they weren't really dead. And Marlena just had a clone. And it's just like, there's something about that. It's just like, it seems kind of in some way like a waste almost because it's like they mourn these people and it's like, oh my God, they're dead. And then the next thing they're in heaven. It's like, wow. So y'all just, okay, cool. All right. It's something about that just bothers me. I don't know what it is, but it just bothers
I don't blame you. I mean, hell, they had him talking to Ernst for crying out loud. I mean, that's just creepy. I mean, you got people sitting there trying to connect with an urn and think that somebody in the urn is talking to them. I would have just shut the show down right there and just be like, listen, we need to retool that part
me.
because I would have had all of them thrown in the crazy house for that. I'm like, you sitting there listening to see if an urn is gonna talk back to you. That's that kid. I give that to Ron Carlivati because nobody does a camp storyline better than him, in my opinion. And that's that kooky stuff he like to do. Um, I've seen plenty of his storylines where he don't get me started on the stuff he did on One Life to Live because when I seen Jessica have her memory loss, and I think it was Brody's pen that made her remember everything. I used to get mad at that storyline because I said a pen brought her memory back. A pen. All she did was look at a pin, and all of a sudden she remembered who the hell she was. I said that don't make no sense. But you see your mother and father, people that you were raised by, you don't remember nothing. So I guess me and Ron Carvati gonna have to talk one day because I want to know what's in his mind with some of his writing that he be doing. Because talking to an urn is a bit out there. But the whole
I,
back from the dead storyline, I wish they would do less of it on the show. A little less. Because I'm like, usually if you see somebody die on days now, it's like, all right. It loses the wow factor. It loses its bite. Because we know they're coming back at some point.
Yeah, because I feel like the only time, the last time they did a Back from the Dead storyline that like was like whoa on the soap was when they brought back Will Horton. Because when Will Horton was killed off, that's I felt that strangle. I was touching my throat. I felt it. I felt that strangle when Ben killed him with the necktie. I felt that. And he was like, ah! And then Ben pushed him against the fridge. And he fell back. And he got scared, and he saw how when he was strangling Will, like you could see from the way they did in the animation directions, like his eyes were getting snuffed down the process because the life was getting out of his body. You felt that strangle. You felt it. So they brought Will back. I think it was like a year or two later. I think it was probably a year or 2 years later or so.
Yeah.
You felt the impact of that. But then to bring something back and then it had been and you're like, okay, where's this going? In terms of what's going on with that. And that was another thing too that bothered me was Wendy Shin. She was so quick to go jump over to Trip's house. I'm like, don't you know Johnny's history? Don't you know Johnny was possessed by the devil last year? So give the man the benefit of the doubt. You know what I'm saying?
Nope. She
Give this
was
man the
ready to
benefit
run
of the
over.
doubt.
Yeah, she was ready to run over there and be a skeezer.
She was just so ready to run over to Trip's house and like, yeah, so let's see what we can do together, like as
Yep.
if
Yep. Running right over there being a little huzzy.
I was like, come on, I was like, come on.
They ain't even
well,
get a man a chance.
yeah, and to tell you the truth, there's two things I want to sit there and say about that. I did kind of raise my hand a little bit because I was like, Brock, you might want to sit there and kind of be a little careful. I know you and Ron, y'all got history, and you never. I always sit there and say you never know who's not there watching these lives. And two, I'm personally kind of tired of Johnny constantly getting screwed over when it comes towards the romance department because it's like he was with Chanel, then he got possessed, and now they're not a thing. Then he got like, high on some cookies or whatever. And now she's just like, oh yeah, I just left. And he was like, wait, really? I don't know. I just as a Johnny fan, I was like, wow. So y'all just gonna really do him like that? Like again? I don't know. I don't know. Do you see?
I feel like honestly, the thing is that like with Johnny, they've established him as this playboy nowadays. And I agree, he has. I honestly I can see he has gotten a little bit of the short end of the stick. He has gotten a little short end of the stick. But if Wendy Shin was quick to run over the Trip that quickly, just like that, then she's definitely not the
Yeah.
one. You know what I'm saying? She's not the
Yeah.
one. She's gonna be quick to run over the Trip like that. And but it would have been nice to see Wendy Shin and Johnny get married, and her dad try to make a strategic move for Demira because her dad was happy that she was with Johnny for that strategic element that was there. I do feel bad for Lee Shin. I feel bad for the guy. He really loved Gabby, and he did some things that wasn't right. He did some things that wasn't right. I will admit that, but Alicia deserves himself a good woman. He deserves a good woman. But I do like when he said to Gabby, I can't control you anymore. I have to let you go. She's like, well, can I still have your shares? And he didn't even look at her. He was like, hell no. He
Yeah.
didn't look at her. It was
I
like,
was
hell
happy
no.
he did that. I was happy he showed some
Gabby did
back.
try it, but I was happy about it. I was happy about that. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I'm glad he showed some backbone and told her no. Cause I was about to say he better not sit there and be no little punk and give her them shares. I would look at him totally different now. I'm like, no, you done begged and pleaded with this woman for far too long. Get up off your knees from all that begging. Cause that just don't make no sense. You know what's surprising to me though is that Demira Enterprises is still a company. I would
Right.
think that investors would have pulled the hell out of that company a long time. Like all these different CEOs every 5 seconds and these votes for a new CEO every second and people plotting within the company. Like, who the hell would trust their money to be a part of that company?
That's a point.
Absolutely not. I would have moved my money to Titan so fast.
Not to mention your founder's coming back from the dead every 2 years.
Exactly. I said,
Stefano, like how does that work? How can you trust that?
exactly. I'm like, no, I would have been got out of there. Johnny, I think he has potential to be a future leader of the Demira family. He needs more grooming. Um, he need to become a little bit more savvy about the things he do. And as far as him and Wendy, I like them together, but at the end of the day, I mean, she wants to sit here and play ping pong between him and Trip. Her and Trip have literally zero chemistry to me. They just seem like they good buddies. That's all they need to be is good buddies. Because even when they kiss, it just there's no spark to me. Like it just seemed like you kissing your brother or something. It's like no, they just need to be good buddies that hang out, play video games or whatever the hell they do, and just be friends and leave a romance alone. Because romance does not suit them.
Now I have a quick question though. How did you guys feel though when the the Colin twist came in? Because for the longest time, I was always wondering if the writers were going to put Talia with Chanel. I was like, is that the route they're going with that? But they were so ambiguous about it though, and they were towing the line, and that made me think, okay, maybe she's not going to be Chanel. But what do you think of the whole twist with her and Colin being Sloane's brother? What are your thoughts on that,
Right,
Mr.
Honestly,
Bostic? Oh, go ahead. Oh, whoever wants to take it, go ahead.
Rock.
honestly, I was a little irritated by that reveal because I said now that just proves that y'all dragging this dumbass storyline on, and I was hoping that we was getting to the climax of it, but by adding Colin to it, it's dragging it now. Is completely dragging it. So I'm like, we need to end this whole feud. Oh, you killed my mother. You killed this person. Like, who cares? They're dead. At the end of the day, why y'all not blaming your daddy? Your daddy was a grown man that slept with this young girl. He blew up y'all family, but yet they want to put all of this on Chanel and don't want to put none of the blame on the father. He willingly slept with this girl. Willingly. So I is the father dead? Did they say? I don't remember. Is he dead?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, he's dead. Oh, that's probably why, because they can't lash out at the dead man. So I guess they figure why not lash out at Chanel. But I'm like, okay, what's your end goal on this? Like
But I think
trying
the
to
mother's
destroy,
alive though.
huh?
I think the mother is alive though. That's what
See,
I think.
that's gonna piss me off
Who,
even
who
more.
was the
'Cause
mother?
Like Sloane's mother, I think she's still alive. That's why I think because I feel like they
Oh,
keep
okay.
going with this.
yeah,
Somebody's got to be
that's the
alive
ill part. I'm
somewhere.
like, what are we in Scream or something? Like we got a family of killers running around, popping up every 5 seconds. Like it's so stupid. I'm like, let's just end this once and for all. Like, what do y'all want to check? I'll just tell Abe and Paulina, listen, just get your checkbook out and write them a check and shut them the hell up, please. If that's gonna help, write them a check big enough for them to go away. Because Sloane is already a disappointment to me, and I liked her in the beginning, but she a disappointment to me because
But
for
remember, she
somebody
doesn't
who's
want the money though.
what the hell does she want?
She wants
Blood?
justice. That's what she said. She wants
What the hell
justice.
does justice look like? Because you're not gonna get it through the prison system. Um, and Sloane, like I said, I like Sloane, but I don't like her at this moment because I feel like she's turned into a bigger disappointment to me because you running around with Eric Brady who ain't got no job for one. I'm like, why are you running around going head over heels for an unemployed man? I just don't get it. Like she's accomplished and you're with a bum, like a bum that who runs his mouth, mind you, because I don't like Eric at this point either because he got too much mouth. Like he runs his mouth to his sister, he runs his mouth off to Nicole. But I'm like, do you not see the difference here? Is that they have jobs. So how are you running your mouth off to people that got jobs though? They got a check. They got a home. They got places to lay their head. Even if their name ain't on the deed or nothing, they still got somewhere to go. Even if Nicole right now got put out of the Demira mansion, guess what? Guess what she can go do? She can go get a room at the Salem Inn right now with her checks. She could go there right now with her credit cards right now. Could he do the same if Sloan was to put his ass out? You know where he gonna end up? John and Marlena's townhouse where half the town go. How many rooms that townhouse got? Offhand, how many rooms that townhouse got?
I think it has two. To me, it looks like it has two.
How the hell you got two rooms in there, but you got about 45 people living there? That's what I'm confused about. I'm trying to think who currently lives in that townhome because I know Brady's still there. Rachel is there. Who else stayed there? Because I know
Bell.
Belle at one point stayed there too, but I think she back with Sean. Who else staying there? Because I know it was somebody else.
Well,
Kristen,
John was
Kristen
there, I
was
think.
there. No, no, Kristen
See,
at
that's
one
what I'm
point.
talking about. How they just allow all these people to just move in on them like this? Like how? Tell them to go home or find a home.
And keep in mind too, Nicole has what is his name again? God, he
EJ.
was the godson of Victor, Daniel Daniel Jonas money and Maggie Kiriakis money, because Maggie was Daniel's mother, so she's also got that coming. She has a grandson,
Oh
Maggie's
yeah,
grandson. Actually, I almost forgot that too. That Nicole's daughter is Maggie's granddaughter. I almost forgot that. Howie
yeah.
Jonas. Almost
Maggie
forgot that
still got
too.
money apart from Victor.
I like to think so. I'm sure Mickey left her a trust fund or something if he was a responsible.
That man died 12, 13 years ago. That money still is still long enough.
Well, she's got Victor money, so that helped make it become even longer.
Oh yeah, and then
I'm sure
again, Victor ain't yeah, because Victor ain't
kind
never
of
made
put
her
fixed
pay.
it together.
Yeah, I don't see Victor letting her. Yeah, I don't see them getting no same bank account.
Yeah. I
Victor,
think Maggie mixed it together, helped make it a little longer.
yeah,
I mean, it's. I mean, you practically said it all, Brock. My whole thing is when I look at it, I already had an idea that Colin was going to be like the villain, like he was going to be behind this whole thing because you knew it was somebody. But everyone in the chat kept telling me it's going to be, it's going to be Sloane's brother. So when it was Sloane's brother, it was just like, oh, okay. It also just seemed very predictable at that point too. When you really start to look at it, it just seemed very predictable. I just don't understand. Like, I mean, this chick is just really just going along with it, just being the patsy, just doing all the rest because she's what in love.
that
Like,
ain't love. You seen the way his facial look? He looked like he looked like he was you know a fan of Ike Turner's or something back when he was
no,
growing up.
I'm I'm talking about from her perspective, not from reality, not from like other people. I'm talking about from her perspective. It just came across like she was doing it because she was in love with him, and it's like
Yeah,
that's what we got going on, really. But then of course they decided to make her a doctor out of nowhere. So I still got issues with that, but whatever.
because I
Um,
knew they were gonna make her work for someone in Sloane's family. I felt that because I'm like, what is her beef exactly that she has with Sloane? But the one thing I
and she
don't
kept
get
looking
though is
guilty. Yeah, she kept looking guilty. A lot of times she
right.
kept looking guilty. So
But also the thing is too, like, why would Sloane's brother sabotage her, given that she has the same vision in mind? Granted, a different way of going about it, but the same vision in mind to get, Chanel and get justice. Why would he let his sister like be like,
like kind
I
of be
guess,
on
in the
the
line
hook
of fire? Yeah, for that.
because she's a good lawyer. That's why. Those are his words. She's a good lawyer. She's not going to let them railroad him. I mean, I'm just like your brother. Seemed like you don't give a damn about Sloan because all the evidence was pointing towards Sloan at that point. I'm just like, bro, I get you want to sit there and get justice in your own little way, but you're pretty much kind of sacrificing your sister at this point and putting her in the hot seat so many times just to get this revenge.
that that word alone it has soured me in daytime TV because they
For
use that
revenge.
word so often in daytime. Justice for this and justice for that. Listen, shut the hell up with all this justice talk because every time somebody offer them something where they get a little taste of justice, that ain't good enough. So I'm like, what exactly is justice looking like to folks? Like, do you want the person dead or like what is it that you want? Because they could offer you money and that still ain't good enough. So I'm like, what is justice to them? And Sloan is the biggest perpetrator of the word because I'm like, what is justice? Like, you trying to take people down, put them in prison. So you do all that. What are you getting after that? Are you satisfied after that? That's what
I
I
think her
was.
mother's still alive. I just want to know how they're gonna put that together with her mother being like, because I feel like when they're going this hard, that person's somewhere still alive somewhere. Something's happening.
Yeah,
Something's going on somewhere. Because I knew that I thought that at first Talia was working for. At first I thought the person was poisoning the brownies at Sweet Bits or whatever it was Sloane's mom, but then it was Talia. But I was like, okay, she must be working for me, maybe Sloane's mom. That's what I was thinking too. Okay, so we're gonna get the reveal that she's working for Sloane's mom. Now it's Sloane's brother. He has a British accent. She doesn't. I did notice that, but people grow up in different environments sometimes. It's siblings. It's okay. So I'm gonna suspend reality because Anna has a British accent and Robin does not in GH. So we're gonna go with it for right now. We're gonna go with it. You're gonna go with it for right now. Um, but I guess my biggest thing, and now looking at it, is you know what's his like. I know we kind of talked about this earlier that he feels like someone could get him off, but why would he let his sister be on the hook? And what's his big vendetta? Because Sloan didn't really mention much about a brother or anything like that until now that we're seeing this. I'm kind of interested to see how this is going to play out with that. So we'll see how it goes.
Quick,
I
quick side, quick side question, and I wanted to think, get your take on Alex Brock. Maybe that's that. What's your take on Alex? Because I've never really got to ask you that or anything like that. What's your take on Alex? From Ben to Alex, like what do you think?
Alex Kyriakis.
Yeah.
Uh, I used to just see him as a hoe. When he first came on, I thought he was interesting. Like he was funny to me because he just didn't care. Like you put a threesome out there, whatever the case, he was down for it. I like that. He embraced it, but I like the growth of the character so far. What I mean, he's actually trying to mature. He's stepping out of the whole phase a little bit. Because even when Chanel pretty much put it out there, like, oh, she wanted him to seduce Sloane again. He was like, listen, I'm not trying to be about that. Like, I'm trying to move away from that life. Um, just hopping into bed with people and stuff. I think he's trying to be taken more seriously because after what happened with Stephanie and what's going down at Titan with him being passed over as second in command, I think he's trying to change the image a little bit. Like he's trying to be a more mature version of himself than he was before. He's trying to show people like, listen, I'm not the same womanizer I was when I first got back here. Um, trying to be a little bit different. So I see the growth in him. I just don't think it's gonna last too much longer because everybody do backslide every now and again. Um, I still like the character though. I think he got a lot of potential to be bigger than what he is right now. If written better, he got the potential to co-lead the family. Because with Victor, being out the way for the time, and eventually they're going to kill that character off. You need somebody to lead the family. And I think they have a lot of viable options if written correctly.
What are those options though for the Kyriakis? Because I feel like besides Maggie, I don't see
Philip,
who could do it.
you got Philip,
Justin?
Xander,
You think so,
Alex.
Philip?
Philip could always come back.
What about Justin?
No,
Why not?
Justin, he sucks as a lawyer. He'll suck even more as a CEO.
But you see
That's,
Philip as a new patriarch for the Kyriakises?
I mean, he's been there the longest. He's been groomed. He
Okay,
knows
okay,
how
I can see that. I can see that.
he knows
Yeah.
how his dad operated over the years. He definitely
What
got the
about Bob?
skill set to be just as devious.
Okay, I could see that. I could see that a little bit. I could see that. I could. But honestly, I think Maggie works as a new matriarch. They haven't had a
Yeah.
matriarch for the Kyriakis, but I feel like she works actually more. And it's not just because she's older, but it's a new role, and the way they've written for her is I wish how they would write for Nikki on Young and the Restless. I feel like you
I can't
know
stand her snooty ass.
I feel like I wish we could have seen that kind of writing, but I feel like it
I
works.
hope to God, I pray they never make Maggie out to be like no damn Nikki Newman. I hope not. I would
Yeah,
never look at Maggie the same again if she acted like Nikki.
I agree.
Just snooty as
Well,
hell. Always got her lips pursed.
but it's
Bougie.
just the way that they've made Maggie a leader now, and I wish they would have made Nikki that leader instead of Victor Shadow on YNR. That was the part. That was a part for that.
Nope, because all Nikki do on YNR, oh hello darling. Yeah, that's all she does. Go on with everything Victor say and make little faces.
You looking at your cat, DC?
Yeah, hold on. Let me go
Is
look at
it,
her.
is
See what.
it- My dude was sitting there looking at like a killer was about to sit there and just walk into the room.
All right, sorry about that, guys. All right, my apologies. All
It's
right.
all good. DC. So, what do you think about Alex? Real quick.
Okay, in terms of Alex, I do like the dual characters because I mean we've seen that with the whole Kristen and Susan Banks and that duality with the character played by Eileen Davidson, which I feel like Stacey Haida could have also played Thomas Banks. They should have given her the chance to now play Thomas Banks and Eileen Davidson, so they could have keep up that duality. You know, the same actresses, kind of how they did with All My Children with Stewart and Adam. So I do like it. I like it. Now the thing is that Sierra was on. She came back, and we did see Ben. I think it was a few weeks ago. We saw
Yeah.
Ben. We saw Ben
Hmm.
on. We saw Ben. I
Yeah.
like that. We did. We also got a Chelsea Brady mention. I think it was on Friday finally because how does somebody just finally come back from the dead and you don't notify them? But I was happy they finally corrected that. The writers when they did that with Bo. But I like it. I like the whole Alex story, and I like how who he is with Titan. I wish they would have left Sonny on because I would have wanted to see them develop out more of the brother frenemy rivalry thing those two had going on. And I honestly thought that when Sonny was on, that they would have had him be with Leo, and then that would have been a big confrontation between him and Will, and then Will left town. It's like they were building towards that, and they just dropped it out of nowhere. If you guys noticed, which I
Yeah.
wish they would
No,
have done,
definitely.
and they maybe could have found a way. What I thought would have been a cool storyline is if Alex had found out that Sonny was having an affair with Leo, and he blackmailed Sonny into like selling over his shares of Titan to not tell Will or something like that. That would have been kind of cool, and then that could have sparked the whole brotherly feud even more so. I thought that would have been a cool storyline had Days attempted that.
Yeah.
I I mean, my whole thing is like I've been watching Days as long as everyone else, but I can just tell you right off the jump, like Alex just seems so much like a fun character. Like when he came in, he just had a very different energy. He wasn't like very broody, and plus, I don't know. There's something about Ben and Sierra that just annoys me. They just bore me, and it just annoy me. I don't know what it is.
Really? They
Yeah,
got
but
that
Alex
fire.
coming in, he's just a much more fun character to watch. He just has more energy. He's very upbeat and um he's a gentleman of the night, as I'm gonna sit there and say. He just has a different energy. I just there's something I just really love about the character, and plus the character's growing too. So he has that going for him. So
The Ben
I'm enjoying
character, the Ben character just looked like he never tells Sierra no.
it.
Like he just always seemed like a lap dog to me. Like always up under her behind. Just like I'm pretty sure. Like the mere fact that she wanted to name that child in 2023 Baby Bo.
Have you
I would.
seen her?
I listen. I would have said no. I'm sorry. I understand you want to pay tribute to your daddy, but in this day and age, I'm not naming my child Bo.
But they couldn't go with Ben Weston Jr. either, considering his history.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
we gonna go with that. I would have just gave the child an original name or something, but
Okay.
I'm not in 2023. I'm not naming no child Bo. And what's Bo? What's that short for? Buford Bogart? What's that short for?
Beauregard, yeah, Beauregard.
I'm not giving
Beauregard.
no child that name in this day and age. Are you trying to get the boy beat up when he grow up?
Yeah, but
No.
but come on, you can't sit there like you sit there saying like he seemed like he doesn't really sit there and say no to her. Have you seen her?
Yeah, I've
I'm,
seen her.
I'm just, I'm just
Okay,
saying
I've
that
seen her. I still say
it,
no
it,
sometimes.
it's
Looks
kind of
can
a
only
struggle.
get you so far.
I'm just saying it's kind of a struggle. I put that out
It's only one woman in the world I say yes to for everything. That's Holly Berry.
there.
That's it.
I also feel like Ben was overcompensating because he's a reformed serial killer. So it's like I feel like a lot of his actions after that point with him being Sierra is now him overcompensating for that. So that's why
Okay.
he's probably always saying yes to everything and never saying no. And I think they wrote Ben into a corner. And I think in some ways Robert Scott Wilson felt that. And plus the actress play Sierra was leaving too. So it's like, okay, let's give him something new where now he can have a character who can have more layers. Because it's almost like because of Ben's history, he couldn't have a duality to them. Now he had to be a goody two shoes, pretty much, because well, he was a reformed serial killer. So it's like we can't have him have more layers now. That was all the layers that he could have.
He just used them up. He just
Yeah,
that was it right there.
we've used them all up when he made him a serial killer. So it's like he can't have no more layers. But now Alex gets to have those layers because obviously when Robert Scott Wilson was playing Ben, he couldn't. And I think that's what happened with Roger Howard on GH when he was playing Franco, was that they couldn't get past the history of Franco. It wasn't like a Todd Manning or anything like that. This was a Franco who was a serial killer. Like it's just hard to get past that. And plus, that wasn't the role he was supposed to be in on GH. And then so they tried this Austin Gatlin Hall thing, and we already know that's not working. But yeah. We
All
haven't
right,
seen
so
Austin in a while now. I think about it actually. Go ahead.
You was better off bringing that man in as Michael Myers.
well, now you got Mason, aka the Mr. Inconvenience. So you got that whole storyline going. But
And that shit
just
ain't even a storyline. Cause when the last time we seen it?
well, I mean, you got GH that you got like 10,000 characters, so it's like when are we gonna really sit there and see anything? I mean, we
That's
gotta kind of have our expectations at a certain level at this point. Let's just be real.
true.
Same. But switching into YNR, I know the hell. I know DC. You didn't really watch that much of YNR. What about you, Brock?
Who here really watch YNR 5 days a week?
Oh, I guess me then. All right, awesome. That's great.
You sitting with that bullshit? I catch little glimpses of it here and there, just enough to get a general understanding of what's going on, which ain't much.
So from your I guess your observations, what do you think so far? Or did you watch like this 50th? I think
I
that they're
watched
doing
that
there.
BS bicentennial, whatever they want to call it. I seen that
So you
dumb.
watched it. You watched it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I loved about it was Leanna Love.
Who is
Her.
she?
Wasn't she married to Victor at one point? Is she a reporter or something now? And she used to be married to Victor, I think. Everybody at that damn thing couldn't stand that woman. All she was doing at the bicentennial was looking for dirt.
But they gave us no flashbacks on her. I didn't even know who she was. They gave
I know.
not one
Oh,
flashback
you never
for
heard
us
of
to know who
Leanna
she
Love
was.
story?
No, I never heard of her character before. But see, that's the thing. If Carvalhotti was writing that, that would have written better because yeah, people have to understand that character Leanna Love has been on for like decades, right? So
On
I'm
and off.
sure Weiner's had new viewers in all these decades. And how come the writers didn't think that, or at least give us a flashback or something so we can at least identify who this character is? We're hearing about all his history, but not one flashback. I was confused. I can only imagine how I was feeling because he's only watched the show for like a
Yeah,
year and a half. So I'm like,
yeah,
who
pretty
is this
much. Yeah.
woman? Like, why do I care about her?
The bi- the bicentennial, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you watched it from beginning to end and Tucker, you saw Tucker McCall's facial expressions throughout the bicentennial, it pretty much tells you how that bicentennial was. Because nonchalant looks on his face and the I don't give a fuck about this event look, it was just all over his face. Like he had this look like why I'm only here for Ashley. Like he did not give a damn. I'm like he really spoke to the viewer and me because I could relate to him in those moments because I'm just watching it and I'm like okay, skip, 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 skip. I mean the Jill scenes with her and Mamie, those were pretty good. Those were funny. Because Homegirl was just like, listen, she not letting that beef with Jill go for shit. She not letting it go. Jill was like, "Oh, let bygones be bygones." She said, "No, I'm good. I don't want to be your friend."
But
And
Jill's the reason why she's prospering. How much of those Abbott's going to pay her as a maid? Well, she was a maid forever and ever. Amen. Like,
no, I get what you're saying. Yeah, she lived very well off the $1 million Jill gave her. But if you go back and look how she treated that lady back in the day, like she treated her like nothing but kitchen help, like straight staff. That's how she talked to her. That's how she treated her. So I can't say I blame Amy for just saying, you know what, I'm not letting bygones be bygones because Jill treated that woman like shit, like straight up less. Like she treated her less than you would treat your house staff. Like
Hmm.
gum to the bottom of your shoe is how she treated her. Plus, she was always jealous because of John. John and Mamie really did love each other, and Jill never could handle that.
They
She
should
was
have gave
good.
him a secret child, John and Amy. They should have done that. They should have done
Oh,
that in
that would
my
have
honor.
been. Oh, that would have been hot. That
They
would
should
have
See,
have
been.
done that.
keep that same energy. I say
They
keep
should
that
have.
same energy.
But let me say, I want to say this. My biggest issue with Mamie coming in on the 50th was that she ran to her employer's house first. She has her nieces, her niece and her nephews, Devon and Nate and Lily, but she ran to her employer's house first. And I get it. We know she has a history with Jack, but they
Mhm.
had barely any interaction. It's almost like they're like, oh, maybe you're here. Oh, hi. And I'm
Yeah,
like, this is someone supposed to be your family member. The thing is with the Winters, Hastings, Johnson, Barber clan, four last names. That's already one issue right there. Everybody got 20. There's 20,000 different last names going. I can't even keep up with everybody. But the thing about it is just that with this is that they didn't even know that Mamie was in town. And I figured, okay, now they know Mamie's in town. Maybe Mamie's gonna be the one to try to reunite them. Nope. She went about her business.
I
went back.
I
Took
I
her to
have
Emily and
to
went back.
I have to agree with you 1,000%. It was a huge missed opportunity because if you recall back then, Mammy was a part of the story. She was there when Drusilla confronted her mother about her hatred of her. She was in
Yeah.
the room at the party for Olivia. And the mother was like, "Oh, well, this is Olivia's party, and I don't want to get into this." And Drew wasn't having it. Drew was like, "No, we're gonna get into this shit because her mother hated her with vigor." And I love the fact that Mamie was a part of that, and I hate that they just ignored all of that at the bicentennial. It's like here you got you know her offspring here, and you barely have her interacting with them. You know, just barely a scene. And I felt like that was such a huge missed opportunity. They could
You
have
know,
reminisced about Drew and Neil and back in the day, and it would have been meaningful.
but you know, I think it is though too is like because of the beef that Victoria Rao has had with CBS. I feel like that's why Drusilla's name does not get mentioned. But it's like you can't mention this whole family without Drusilla. It's such a pivotal part of their history,
But they
and
did
it's
though a
like
little bit. They didn't do it fully, but they
this
did.
is how you
Yeah, I
it was
think
a
that's how
bootleg. It was
that's
a bootleg.
that
That's
was as good as it was going to get for that beef that I heard about. So I think that was literally the best that they were going to sit there and do.
I mean, they could have their cousin Justin over in LA on B&B come over to the show because I know Aaron Spears not doing nothing on that show, and he's their
Hell
cousin.
no.
So bring him on over here, do something with him. And it was just so weird. Like the writers don't know what to do with this family. It's obvious they don't know what to do with the Winters, Barbers, Hastings, Johnson, Hamilton, Ashby clan. Yes, I do that on purpose every time. I do that on purpose every time.
Because you barely
We don't
got
know what to do with
Lily
them.
even mentioning the twins.
Yeah, it's like they
It's
don't
like
exist
she doesn't
anymore.
even have kids.
Yeah,
Who don't have kids? Really?
Lily.
Lily. Like they don't really mention the twins that much.
Yeah.
It's like very brief when they do mention them. And then after that, you don't hear her talk about them again for quite some time. She don't even mention Kane like that. Like, is he back in Australia?
And did they have flashbacks on the 50th? I didn't really call a lot of
No,
flashbacks.
no, they
None of
didn't
you guys know a
actually have
lot
any
about
flashback. And
flashbacks.
I remember watching every single episode, and I was like, there was no flash. Well, I mean, there was also no Tessa Mariah, but I mean, at this point, you know, because apparently they just forgot about those characters. I feel bad for the people that actually do like those characters because it's like they don't give them anything. And it's like what you said, DC. Ever since the wedding, that was pretty much about it. That was it.
That's why when I saw everyone is celebrating over Taraya and people's channels like, oh, Soraya, let's celebrate there. I was just sitting there in the background like, y'all really think you're going to get a storyline after this? Y'all really think I'm going to get a storyline with them after this? A good one, too?
They be doing
Because I know how CBS daytime operates. It's not like ABC daytime, and it's definitely not like NBC.
Well, we all
They
know
gave a
that.
little something, something. They gave a little something, something for y'all to snack on, but they don't give you the full meal. They gave you the appetizer, enough to say they fed you.
Well, I mean, that's a nice way of saying that they just do a checkbox at that point when it comes towards certain couples and stuff like that. Hey, listen, we represent the LGBT community, and you really don't. You showed them for like a day, and then that was it. But they got to sit there and write off on the checkbox. So there's that, I guess.
Mariah still hasn't met Daniel yet, by the way. That still bothers me. She still has not met Daniel, but we continue. Keep going. Let's keep going.
She hasn't yet, has she?
No, she has not met Daniel yet. Not to my knowledge, unless someone could correct me. But Mariah still has not met Daniel yet, the man
Nope.
who killed her twin sister.
I could have
That's
sworn
cool
they
though.
had one scene together.
Did
No.
they? Because
They
I
never
didn't. I
did.
didn't see it.
No.
That's weird. Never.
Yep. It's
Yeah,
weird
why?
because I've literally been watching it ever since. Like I have not missed an episode, and I can tell you for like, unless I was drunk that day and I don't remember, they didn't actually show them like interacting.
And
Damn.
that's I'm waiting for that moment for them to have that scene where he sees Mariah and then he remembers Cassie as a flashback, and then she goes, "Hi, can I help you?" And he goes, "Oh my God, you look just like." I'm waiting for that moment.
Well, well,
Quick, simple
we're
scene.
we're too busy with the whole Phyllis faking her death scene. You know, we're too busy with that story.
That's a.
And we got Jeremy Starks that somehow gets overpowered by a woman that's like I don't know like 100 and something pounds lighter than him. So we
Did,
got that whole thing going on too.
didn't I
That
tell
was a
you?
good scene though when she killed him. That was a good scene though. Go ahead,
Didn't I
sorry
tell
about you.
you? Didn't I tell you that Stark was basically going to be? He was going to go the way of Ashlyn.
you did.
I,
You
I, I
did.
told you. The way
You
they're going to
did.
write him is the way they wrote Ashlyn Locke. You brand him as this big bad guy. Oh, he's a real threat. Even Victor saying he's a real threat. But you have a little scrawny ass woman be the one to take him out, and he didn't do anything that was evil. Like if he really was this big bad evil guy, why he didn't snatch Diane ass up? Wouldn't he have snatched her up, brought her somewhere, beat her down, maybe?
Well,
I
I
mean,
mean,
I'm pretty sure
I
they're not gonna show domestic like that, up here. But I mean, at least imply it.
well, this was more physical. This was more psychological warfare. This is more like making him fear her and stuff like that. Which is like he okay. My whole thing is he hasn't actually done anything to make himself seem like a legitimate threat. So we can all agree on that. Um, and I get that they were trying to go for the whole psychological thing because it's 2023 and like you said they're not going to really go that route. But like
I wish they would though. Go ahead.
Yeah, be realistic.
in 2023, we don't do realistic. Let's be honest.
That's true, right? I wish they would. I wish they wouldn't be afraid to go that route because with this whole storyline, when Phyllis did kill him, that was like a really like whoa scene for me. It was like, oh my gosh. I was like, it was a good scene, but you know, the thing is, that was one who was running the whole show and making things are operating well for Phil. Oh, go ahead. You gonna say that? Go ahead.
You said you no no you said that it was a good scene when they show Phyllis kill. Um, it was a good
Jeremy
scene.
Stark.
What?
When she
When
killed
did
Jeremy
they
Stark.
show that? We didn't see it though.
Well,
Like it was just
they,
kind of
well,
implied.
I guess okay.
I mean, it's a
The
lazy.
acting by
I mean, yeah.
the acting by
I just
Michelle Stafford, yeah, yeah, that was weird that they blacked that out. That was weird. I feel like they could have given us a little something on
I
that.
just I don't want people to get the impression that they actually do show stuff that they don't. It's kind of like the ambulance scene. It's like, oh yeah, the ambulance exploded and
They
it was a
used
huge
to.
fire, and we didn't actually.
Yeah,
They
we
I,
didn't
they
see any
used
of
to
that.
show dramatic scenes like that, like when Paul's crazy ass son Ricky had eaten in the bathroom, and Paul had to shoot him out the window. They showed dramatic stuff like that, and I think that helped the storyline to the climax of the storyline. They need to go back to doing things like that.
I didn't want DC to give people the wrong impression if they're thinking that people are going to sit there and be watching stuff and then they're actually going to sit there and show it because they're more of a teller than showing stuff because that just makes sense for Y&R with their budget. So yeah.
Oh,
Because I
we
love it when
we
soaps have those moments where people are falling out windows and stuff like that. And you see the dummy. Now I know it's a dummy now. Like back when I was a kid, I was like, my God, they fell out the window. How did they do that? But
Well,
yeah
they
can't
need
we
really
to
come
get
back from
some
that.
dummies back in there. Then they need
we
to do something.
we know all about Y&R's budget these days. We've seen the sets that they overuse.
I think B&B's got the best budget. It looks like it. It looks like they got the best budget on B&B because they
what,
still
what
can
about what
afford
about
these
what, what,
international trips.
what about days with their green screening and stuff like that?
You know what? I'm gonna give them a little credit. They trying, but I feel like couldn't they have done that even when they were on network? Because I don't think the green screen costs too much, does it?
Yeah,
I don't think so. It shouldn't. Not if you know how to play around with the budget enough.
Yeah.
Because Frank Valentini, even on the budget he got, he know how to make that shit work. I will give GH this. I will give when it comes to sets, I will give GH their due. You don't often see them always use the same set over and over and over again. Like they use different restaurants, like the grill. They even added the Metro Court Gardens. They even added another room to the Quartermains that BLQ was hanging out in. They give you all types of different sets. So I give them that. They know how to
I'm not.
make you like the sets.
Yeah, I was generally happy when they actually had some sort of a set with like Spencer and Victor and stuff like that. Like even them out in the snow. And it's weird because when I first started watching soap operas and stuff like that, I didn't think about that stuff. It was just like everything was new and amazing. But like now being adult and like knowing like okay, they have this budget, they have that budget. It's like I'm actually giving them props because I'm like, oh shit, they actually have a set. Like I didn't think they was actually gonna have a set.
Yeah.
I feel like that's actually a good thing, but yeah, that's pretty much what expectations are.
Because even Anna, I think Anna's in the Chandler Mansion. Because
Yeah.
one, I don't understand yeah, if you notice that's the Chandler Mansion. Because remember, all my
Yeah.
children moved to LA at one point. They moved to
Yeah.
LA to end. That's the Chandler Mansion that
Yeah.
Anna's in. Which I don't know
Because
why
even the
Anna has a
front
big
door was
mansion with just
different.
her.
Yeah, even the front
Yeah.
door was in a different location than when it was in New York.
She's in the Chandler Mansion. Anna's in that
Yep.
Chandler Mansion. But I still don't get why she has a big mansion with just her in there. It's just a huge mansion. That could be on some other character, I feel like.
Yeah.
Not Anna.
Yeah.
Anna could be in the Metro Court, and that'll suffice for me.
They could have built her like a little condo set.
Yeah, yeah.
They could have.
But I can't see Anna
Now,
staying in a mansion. It just
No.
doesn't, yeah.
now, is anyone actually okay? Let me refresh this question. Besides me, is anyone actually watching B&B? Like, do y'all care? Like, y'all know about RJ coming back?
I've
Wow.
seen that. I've
I found out
seen
from
that.
your chat.
Okay.
I've
Are
seen
you
that.
excited that RJ's back? Do you
No,
care?
not really. RJ is such a throwaway character to me. Like, if you really want to bring somebody back, bring Rick back. I would say
I
bring
agree.
Rick back. Rick would have a bigger impact on the show, in my opinion, than RJ.
Or Amber Moore.
Yeah, I think I think they would do. I think hell, you could bring both of them back, honestly, because I think they would help impact the storylines better. Because honestly, I'm tired of the love triangles. I'm sick of those. I understand that's a staple with this show, but it gets a little redundant after a while because I'm like, how all y'all grown ass people can't make up y'all mind about who y'all want to be with? It takes y'all months to figure out who y'all want. That's ridiculous. Um, and I ain't got time for RJ to be sitting here giving Thomas the death stare every 5 seconds because he came after his little mother. Ain't nobody got sick. Anybody got time for that? Because the way Thomas was looking, he was looking like he was not thrilled that that boy was there. Um, and I can't say I blame him because RJ to me just adds nothing. I just feel like he's being used as a prop to somehow get Brooke and Ridge around each other. Um,
I
I
thought we
just,
were done with that too. I thought we were done with
I
that,
was
but I
hoping
guess
so
not.
because I
Seriously,
thought,
you actually thought that they were done with that whole love triangle thing?
I
I
Seriously?
really did.
thought
I actually
because
had hope. I finally had hope.
I thought that Brooke finally got some sense this year for once. Apparently not. She can't wait to get in her little bedroom line and put it on him.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm amazed because y'all two have been watching this show way longer than me. So the fact that y'all actually had hope that things was gonna sit there and make sense, I give y'all props for that. I'll
It's,
say
it's
that.
it's because the writing was different. They've never written ever Taylor and Brooke as friends. That's never happened in all the years I've been watching B&B.
Yeah,
So
but, I mean,
seeing that happen, I was like, okay. Maybe we're getting somewhere.
but I mean, who else are you gonna sit there and go out with though? Like somebody's gonna have to sit there and break that deal. Whatever BS deal that they got going on, somebody's gonna have to sit there and break that deal. Because
Brooke.
you can't just have yeah.
Brooke could be the first one to break it.
Yeah.
Because I
All she
also
gonna
feel like
do?
what they could. Okay, Brock. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say that I feel like they could also write them in a different layer now. They don't have to have their whole storyline always revolving around a romance or a man, because Brad Bell wrote in an interview, and this was regarding the whole storyline where Sheila got shot, where I don't know if it was People Insider, Swap, or Digest that interviewed him, and they said, "Oh, what made you want to do a storyline like that? We don't see storylines like this on B&B." He goes, "Yeah, we don't typically do gunshots. I leave that to General Hospital. We like to focus on the interwoven connections of the characters and their relationships. In other words, love triangles. Right? That's what I got from that. You know." And I was hoping that they would take Brooke and Taylor in a different direction. That maybe, I don't know, there was a mystery they were going to solve together or something like the next step, the next development, instead of this whole thing of like, okay, like I'm with Brooke, I'm with Ridge, and now our friendship's broken up. I was hoping for something different. I honestly had hope. I thought we were finally done. I thought they finally started listening. Guess not. I was wrong. I think I
Yeah.
was wrong.
I give y'all two props because I saw the writing on the wall, right? I already saw the writing on the wall as far as because I knew my whole thing is like you have three of those people, and the fact I mean, granted, it was fun to watch their friendship and it was nice because it was like without Ridge, they had a lot more in common than they thought. So I thought that stuff was really cool, but just as a whole, I knew the fact the minute they got Ridge back, it was like yeah, there's no way that one or both of those women are not going to be sent there going for Reg because they don't really have options. I mean, is somebody going to go out with Deacon? Taylor's going to go out with Deacon because they tossed around that idea. It looked like they were doing something. They was like, no, we're not going to do it. So yeah,
Someone comments in the chat, I think the CW, where they said, I think I like with the whole Brooke and Taylor friendship, they should bring Jack Maroney back. And the thing about it is, I agree, because Jack Maroney is the son that Taylor gave birth to, but was biologically Brooks, who they had with Nick Maroney. And that could have been another thing that could have fueled their rivalry of now this next generation, besides it being about Ridge.
True.
That would have been a good touch on that,
True.
was the whole Jack Maroney thing. And I think I would have been here for that. I would, because the thing is that is something that's we still haven't unpacked with BB is Jack Maroney, like Taylor's son. Taylor doesn't even mention Jack. Brooke doesn't mention Jack. They just said he just went off into the sunset with Nick. And it's like, but that's still Brooke's biological son and the son Taylor gave birth to.
I would
And the show
love
still doesn't unpack that.
I would love to see Jack come back and just give Brooke all type of hell because I'm pretty sure Brooke has no relationship with that boy.
Right.
Like I'm pretty sure she doesn't. I'm pretty sure that child probably don't even get a phone call from her. Like I highly doubt it. So I would love to see a grown up Jack coming back and just raising all type of hell.
And not to mention that Jack is related to Ridge. We can see how he's gonna interact with them. And then on top of that, you know, who does he see as his mother? Does he see Brooke as his mother? Does he see Taylor as his mother? Like that's a question I've been wondering as a viewer. Like, so what's going on
Honestly,
with that? Like, it's like a gray area.
yeah, it is. But I honestly think that question could be answered based off of who actually kept in touch with him, who actually interacts with him. I think that's who he would see. But if neither one of them interacts with him at all, then I don't see how he could consider any one of them a mother to him.
Right. And they
Because
don't
I
have to bring back Nick for that storyline either. I'm okay with
no,
Nick not coming
no,
back for
because
that. I'm cool with that.
Jack should be grown by now.
now
Jack should be outgrown.
I got a question since we're all here. Um, like, and I said this before, so probably just correct me if I'm wrong or whatever. But didn't it feel like they were trying to do something with like Brooke and Taylor for like a hot minute?
I was ready to see some HLA.
What's
I
that?
thought
Oh,
I was
okay. Yeah,
gonna
I
see
just
it.
caught that. I caught that. I just caught that. I just caught that.
Yep,
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna see it because even Ridge kind of thought that for a moment.
He
He was
was
like,
off screen for a while. I was like, okay, they're doing away with his Ridge thing, but nope, they brought him back.
yeah, because I used to see how they used to touch each other's hand and look at each other. I'm about to say y'all about to be kissing and shit.
They
I thought
hugged
they
like
about to be.
three times in one scene, like literally.
And Brooke was doing those deep looks. Like she always does with her eyes. You know how Brooke is with her eyes. It's just those deep
Yep.
looks.
Then when she wanted to get emotional, that little one tear coming.
Yeah, I know, right? Taylor, you have to understand, RJ needs his parents together.
Yeah, it's so dumb. It's so
That was
dumb.
literally the conversation between why should it be rich for like the past. It was like from 2006, like 2012 or something, like 10 years or whatever that. RJ needs his parents together. He
Like the
needs them.
reason that they come up with for why they need to be together based off these kids is just so stupid to me. I'm like, first of all, these kids wasn't even born into y'all marriage. Like y'all probably just had a one night stand. You got pregnant. They weren't even born when y'all were together, technically. I'm like, and they were probably a baby when you got divorced. So all that, oh, we need to be together for the child. Do you know how stupid you sound? Like that just sounds very dumb. Like you get together for a child, you're gonna be broken up just that fast
That's
because
true.
there's
Very
no
true.
real connection there. And I feel like Brooke and Ridge at this point, that I feel like that whole relationship has ran its course.
Really? Well, y'all been watching it longer than me, so you could probably sit there and give more of a better. Yeah.
I used to watch B&B heavy when Stephanie was up there.
Yes.
When
I would. You
Stephanie
miss
was
those
up
days.
there, I
You gotta
watched it
watch
heavy.
for those days. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to watch it heavy when she was on there giving Eric all type of hell, kicking that man all up in his nuts.
When
I
she threw
loved every
Jackie
second.
Maroney off the staircase, I
Oh
love that.
yeah.
Let go of me, Jackie.
Listen,
Jackie.
they want to bring somebody back from the dead. They need to get her back. They better open up that budget and raise it up. Tell her, listen, this the new budget for you.
The problem is that they never. I feel like they never wrote a character with that type of strength. The one that seems like slightly similar to the boldest, no pun intended, that Stephanie brought to the show is like Bill, because Stephanie put the bold in the Bold and the Beautiful. She put the
Yeah,
bold in that. There was like when she came in, she stole a scene. You felt every scene that Stephanie was in on B&B. You felt it.
because you knew
She
she was about to raise some hell on somebody. Every time she came in, that's what I loved about Stephanie. She ain't take no shit off nobody. She
Hmm.
wasn't that submissive type.
they don't
And
write characters like that anymore.
no, you don't. That's why I think her and Eric always failed as a couple because he wants some little submissive little housewife, and Stephanie was anything but that. Like she wasn't nobody that baked no cookies and made lemonade and all that mess. She might have the staff do it. She was at the office.
And then when they
But
brought on Betty White to play her mom too,
oh
and
yeah, I love.
that was epic. And she's like, "No, mom, I was abused," and she goes, "It did not happen." And it was just like, that was an epic time to be when they brought out Betty White. You know they had the whole promo. Betty White guest stars, The Bold and the Beautiful, CBS daytime, and then Betty White is sitting out there looking out like out of a window, like she guest stars, Bold and Beautiful, CBS daytime. That was epic. That was a good time. I felt bad, Albert, that you weren't watching at that time. I feel for you. I feel,
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel for
They
you.
still have it on YouTube.
They
Yeah.
do. They do.
Well, also, I mean, well, I have Paramount Plus, so I can sit there and just watch old episodes. So,
Oh no, they got old episodes on Paramount Plus.
yeah.
Which ones?
All of them.
When I went back, they have a lot of old episodes of both of the shows.
Oh damn, YNR.
Hmm.
Oh, I might have to get
You
Paramount
see, how
Plus.
come the other soaps don't do that? They're messing up. How come the other soaps aren't doing that? You see,
'Cause I would love to
CBS
go back.
daytime got their mind right.
Yeah, I would love to go back to YNR 2010, 2009.
Yeah, because when I looked at it, it had all the different seasons, and I was like, all right, let's go back to the first season, or however long we went back. I was like, oh, okay, it's interesting. I don't know who these people are, but it looks interesting. Like that, there's like, I don't know who these people are, but they look interesting. So
Wow.
yeah,
I think see, and see that's a testament that all the other soaps should do that. Even Days, especially now on Peacock, we should definitely be able to see older episodes at this point.
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
there's so many of them. I don't know why they don't archive those out to people. I don't know if that's a
I
copyright
I
thing
would
or whatever that is.
I would love to see old episodes of Victor because Victor just gave no F's. Like he just didn't care. And I was here for
I agree with that. I agree. That's why I feel like they should just be able to like archives out these, like I said, these classic episodes, and it's it's just like I said. So like I mean, we talk about this all the time, but they could bring SoapNet back in like a whole new, different incarnation through streaming. They could. but I think they wonder if it's strong enough, if the interest is strong enough, given that now soaps end up getting canceled. I'm sure they're wondering, is the interest there, and is that worth our time? I think that's the biggest
Oh, it's
thing that
definitely
they're
interest.
wondering.
Is this you could capitalize because these guys got 10 and 13,000 episodes. So you could definitely capitalize on that, especially for a streaming service. That's really good content, and that's what streaming services want nowadays: content.
You think it's a big enough interest though to like even bring back SoapNet though?
And turn
Like I
it
mean,
I
like
don't think
not
so.
what? Yeah,
to turn it in SoapNet into a streamer itself.
yeah.
I think they could. I mean, if you combine every show, every defunct show that they've ever created and put it on SoapNet, there's a market for that. That's hours on top of hours of content. All my
I mean,
children.
I guess. I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
No, I'm saying all my children alone keep you busy. One life to live alone keep you busy. Like you go from here all the way to the cancellation. It'll take you a long time to get through all that.
You know, you might have a point because I am watching Another World from 1981. I just finished 1980 the other day.
Yeah, that's what
Don't
I'm
ask me, I finished a year's worth in less than 3 months. I don't know. I just did. But
That's
you
because you
might have a
got too much
point.
in your hand to be doing all that. You make a little time too much in your hand. See, I try to watch One Life to Live in 2009. I'm still on a certain episode that I still ain't go back and look at yet because I've been a little busy. But I'm gonna try to get back to it.
I just for me, like I just feel like there's so many different shows that incorporate these soap opera elements, like drama and romance and stuff like that. Even in the superhero shows, they put a lot of soapy stuff in it. So it's like, it's very difficult to sit there and compete with something where it's like watching soap operas in some ways is kind of a commitment, you know, as opposed to watching like a show like This Is Us, which is very soap like, but you only got 23 episodes and then you go on a break for a little bit. It's very difficult to read.
Because I watch
Yes.
6 soaps on the regular. It is a commitment. And they're all 5 days a week. I'm watching G8 General Hospital. I'm watching Days of Our Lives. I sometimes watch mine on BB. So I guess those are the ones I'm kind of like iffy about. And I have my international shows like Generations and Hollyoaks, but those are also 5 days a week. So it is a commitment. It is. I mean, when I was younger, I was watching all 9 of the daytime soaps: Aswell
Should
Turner,
get into
G8,
court.
GL. And the way I did it as a kid is that, like, okay, in my room I had All My Children, Will I to Live, and General Hospital playing and recording the VCR and the DVR, all that stuff. In my brother's room, I had his room going. It was all the CBS soaps. And I think my mom's room was the NBC soaps.
You were just taking over people's rooms. That's what it sounds
I,
like.
I had no life as a 12-year-old.
You know
And
what?
that's how I did it.
You should get into Coronation Street.
I watched a little bit of it. I watched a little bit of it.
Yeah,
But
I
it's
love.
hard for me to get into it. I'm more of an EastEnders guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'm more
love
an
me some
EastEnders
Coronation
guy.
Street.
But that's how I did it as a kid. I did it that way, and because at first I tried to do it through my own VCR, and then I would have to alternate days and different weeks for different soaps, or like 1 p.m. or it was even weird. I had it where the VCR would stop at the certain 12-minute mark for All My Children and try to catch 5 minutes of YNR, what 5 minutes of in between. It was weird. I don't know how that I had that set up. I had
Listen,
no
I
life.
would have told you. I would have told you straight up. You need to pick a TV and pick a soap and record that because you wouldn't be taking over my room.
Eventually, I just settled on ABC daytime. Eventually, I just settled on ABC daytime, and then I used to toggle between Guideline and GH on the 3 o'clock hour because GH always had action, but then Guideline was a little more somber, a little more after school, especially. You know, so I had no life, guys. I had no life at that
I mean,
time.
I was more of an ABC person back then. So like my whole thing was like Port Charles and One Life to Live and General Hospital. And somehow I just skipped All My Children, but like I was more of an ABC person, you know.
I don't think you like All My Children. It's too romantic, and you're not into the romantic
It's
aspect of
not.
it.
It wasn't even that. I think it's just like at that point, like trying to watch those 3 days a week, I felt like that was like my max limit. And since Port Charles got me into watching General Hospital, and I was already watching Like Live, I was like, yeah, I'm kind of maxed out at that point.
Yeah, I get that. It becomes a lot.
Yeah.
It does. It does. You try to keep with so many soaps. Like I said, me even watching 6 soaps currently, I had to cut back. And sometimes days always get seen. I always watch days, no matter what. Days always get seen. It's like primero. It's primary. It always gets it. But I mean, back in the day, watching on Nine, at some point, like I had to set on ABC because ABC daytime to me was a perfect balance. It was youthful. It was social storylines. You had the drama. You had the it hit all the boxes for the most part. It hit all the boxes ABC daytime, um, and CBS daytime did too. I think the only soap out of the nine that I had to struggle with watching at the time was As World Turns. That was the only one I really struggled with because the storylines just were not getting me at all. That 2 o'clock hour, so it was very easy for me to go from One Night to Live Passions and just tune out As World Turns. But now I'm enjoying it. I'm watching As World Turns 1986. Just finished 1985 As World Turns.
Um,
This is not every day, guys. This is like whenever. This is on intervals. This is on different intervals. So it's not every day I'm doing all this. I have a life. Okay? I promise. I got a whole life. This is not every day I'm doing all this. All right. This is all intervals. I promise. This is all intervals. It was all intervals that I do like that.
no, no. DC's being dead serious. Like he does actually have a life outside of the soap operas and
Yeah.
YouTube and all that stuff. You know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we pretty much kind of like literally covered them all. Um, so I think we kind of encompass all of them, and of course shows that I wasn't watching that y'all two are talking about. So I'm gonna sit there and leave it off with Brock's final words of the night, and then I'm gonna go to DC. So Brock,
My final words are: y'all better keep watching these shows so they can stay on the air. Um, Petition all writers for GH that we need to see a cat fight, and you need to petition the YNR writer. I can't even say writers because he fired all the writers. Um, Whoever jackass decision that was. What's his name over there in YNR? That head writer over there?
Josh something,
Is it
Griffith.
Josh something.
Is it
is it
Griffith?
Griffin? Is he?
Yes, Griff.
He
No,
the
also
one.
hit the like button too. Yeah, he also hit the like button. I'm
He
sorry.
fired all the writers over there.
Mm-hmm.
That jackass. How the hell you gonna
Budget.
CBS? I guess that's on CBS. But definitely want to thank everybody for tuning in. Smash the like button on this one. Share it. And I will see everybody Monday.
DC.
Okay, I'm trying to think of what are my final words. I, I'm trying to think. I'm at a loss for words here. What a loss.
No, no
What
pressure,
I will
DC.
say, I agree with Brock. Definitely support these shows so they can keep prospering. Um, I would say is this my final words, and this is something that's been on my mind all week while I was watching in between generations of watching GH. Is that I hope these soaps, the four that are left, can bring more of some realism elements. I think that will get viewers to connect with this more because I feel like a lot of the ways they're writing, trying to imitate things of the past, which I get it, that was their glory days, is not working for now. And you're with a whole nother viewer base. And so I think putting that level of realism that's there will allow the viewers to connect more with this content. So those are my final words. Awesome surprise.
Okay. My final words. Let me just hit this drink
It's
real
like,
quick.
okay, all right, my final words.
Oh, no, 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 no. Were you done or? I wasn't trying to be a dick. Or like, were you actually done
no,
or?
no,
You didn't say your
no,
final
no,
words, so.
I'm done. I am done. I'm done. I'm done. Definitely. I got some stuff to talk about Brock. We'll talk about it when we're done. I got stuff to pick Brock's brain about.
Okay. So my final words, I think I just have two final words. One, um, send a lot of love and a lot of prayers to Eric Braden. Because he has a tough battle, but he is a very strong man. And
What happened to him?
He has cancer. I think bladder cancer.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, very just send all the positives, all the prayers and everything like that to him. Um, he's gonna get through it because that's just the type of person he is. he is quote unquote the great Victor Newman, so there's nothing he can't do. So just send all the positive vibes to him. And also, I think we're at, for me personally, we're at like 30 something members. And like I said, once I get to 100 members, I will be doing a giveaway. So if you're not a member, hit the join button in the description box below. And you know, DC, I can sit there and tell you, you know, we be getting kind of crazy in those members lives exclusive. So you know, so definitely do that. But I do want to sit there and thank Brock TV. You know, it's always really great to sit there and be with the OG and DC. You know, you always got that energy. So definitely love your positive vibe. And I just want to thank everyone for joining. This was a lot of fun. We've been having some audio issues every now and then, but um, I want to thank everyone for joining with us because this was a lot of fun. So thank you, everyone. Stay safe, and we will all see you. And eventually, you know, we'll all see you in our next respective YouTube channels. Laters.
See you guys in the next one.
Peace.